It's okay. It's backwards for us. All right.
Hey, who's that guy?
So that's choke. All right, we're pulling this up. Okay, so a couple things. Again, we are streaming tonight. We use YouTube to stream live, so you can join like a Google Hangout and just click right in. So you go to our YouTube channel. If you're not able to make any of our monthly meetups in person, you go right to our YouTube channel. It's right there on the front page of our channel. It says join live. So you guys can join. If you miss it, you can join in the middle. But if you miss it, they publish this to YouTube within 60 seconds. The whole night, okay, all 2 hours. So now I will advise you that we do the announcements, we do, put them on there. So the first X minutes are always, somebody up there doing some quick announcements. And we have a lot of stuff for you to learn on YouTube, but tonight we're actually going to be learning about Omega 4 from Justin. Justin, can I get in corner wave? Justin. Yeah, go. So, how many of you came just specifically for theming and Omega 4 and responsive stuff tonight? Okay. How many of you are comfortable with CSS? Okay, so everyone's going to get something out of this tonight. That's wonderful. So tonight, we really don't have a lot on the official announcement list, but we do, as always, want to start with thanking our sponsor. Our sponsor, venue, parking, Wi-Fi, and food and drinks is all from Stoffer. Christopher, would you like to do an intro? You're here. Go on.
So, everybody, hi guys. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. We're happy and proud to continue hosting on Drupal. And I don't know how much longer it's going to last, but we did just sign a 3-year lease, actually, about a month ago. So that means, I guess, technically I'm stuck here for another 3 years. So as of right now, I don't see any problem with us continuing to host the events and the content. Just wanted to thank everybody for coming out. And if anybody is interested, although we software are not hiring right now, I do actually have an open position with one of my clients. So if someone is looking for Drupal work for a full-time slot, please come by and talk to me afterwards. Thank you.
Quick show of hands. Anybody else have job announcements? We actually need to do those. Contract. Okay, so let's go ahead and start from the front and we'll go over to that.
My name is Amy and I'm from iSpace. We're an IT staffing and solutions agency. We have development positions open all the time. We don't have many people, but all of my business cards here on people. We are living in and we have a great referral policy.
Well, on that paywall, and we're professional designers, we're doing this stuff. So, always looking for somebody talented and work the best. You're facing Orange County, so if you're not willing to make the drive, let us know. But I'll do some
My name is David, and I'm actually a freelancer, and I have a client who's out of work right now. I can't handle all myself. I'm looking for somebody who maybe wants some part-time work with some people experience. Another freelancer.
That one's remote.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
My name is Mario Hernandez. I'm with Meetup currently. We're 100% remote team. Basically, I'm working with electric jobs. Always hiring. And now we're looking for anything. Good shop. So very time. Very time. Check out the career.
That's your own house. It's pretty cool. Any other last minute job announcements? Yeah? Okay, wonderful. So right before we get into the Drupal stuff, which is coming up, I wanted to point out, thank you to the show for bringing some magazines. How many went to the BAD camp, the Bay Area Drupal camp? Okay, literally 3. All right. Well, it's a huge Drupal conference. Excellent work. Is stuff recorded? You guys?
some things, yes.
Not really? Something.
Some things, at least with some things. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Great sessions. I mean, very technical. Big turnout. And these magazines are, you know, the Drupal official is basically like a semi-official magazine. These only come out at big events like the conference and whatnot. So we've only got a handful of these. So what we'll do is we'll start off with people who are offering to do a little 5-minute blurb about a tool or a Drupal tip they learned. You know, they just like to share. You get one of these magazines. Okay, pretty thick. Articles galore, very good stuff. And the people who write the articles are names that you're releasing all the time on Drupal.org. Okay. If there are any left over after the people who have done little 5-minute tips, we'll first come, first serve. We'll let you guys fight over it. Please, we'll not even have them. All right. So the easy thing that we're going to jump right into is tonight we're definitely getting into Omega 4. We're also, like I said, next month having our holiday party. It's also our SmackDown quarterly. So again, come with tips. It does not have to be, like I said, only Drupal. It has to be something around workflow. It has to be around doing development, working, do front end, design, back end, anything. But something that you think is going to be valuable. Steve actually, he really liked a third-party program utility tool that I have on my Mac called Bartender. I have all those menu icons, galore, putting in your own drawers. So he liked that, and he offered that as a tip. So, but that helped his workflow and made him feel better, clean and focused on the machine. So that's workstation oriented. So, like I said, that was a Mac thing, but Ian's, using it, for work. So, one of the cool things during the holiday party is new. We're actually going to have a little fun door prize for everybody who does a tip. So you walk away with a LA Drupal ornament, Christmas ornament. Okay, regardless if you lay it on the tree or you hang it on the cubicle, regardless of any of that, you can print it. And so we'll only have, definitely again that unique ornament. We're only going to do 25. Okay, so it's going to be pretty. Put that on groups.drupal.org, and you guys will definitely, know first, so you can get your tip. So, anyway, cheesy but geeky fun, right? We don't want to do any stuff right now. Okay, so magazines are for later, okay, and something to the Drupal content. So we'll kick off. We're going to switch it up. We're going to actually do a lightning talk first, and then we're going to do our main presentation, and then we'll finish with breakout groups and networking. Okay, we always try to do a breakout group. How many here are Drupal beginners? Okay, so if you guys want, we can do a beginner session. Otherwise, we can come up with 2 separate groups that might make sense based on what you see tonight in the presentation. Okay, so very cool. Any immediate questions before we jump into announcements and presentations? All right, fine. Everybody, let's give Matt a quick warm welcome. He's going to be announcing the DrupalCon stuff. Every month and every meetup, we will have DrupalCon updates leading right up to the conference here in LA. So, welcome, Matt.
Small news for you guys. Everybody knows that DrupalCon in May is going to be here in Los Angeles, and we not know that. Up until now, probably not a lot of information coming your way. There wasn't a lot of information coming my way, but recently, been talking to Drupal Association and we're making some progress. So I just want to get all of you involved and give you some information that you need. If you want to contribute, give you some ways that you may be able to be a part of it. Obviously, you can attend, do all that stuff, but then actually organize it with people, and everything. So I want to make sure that if you are willing, that you guys are going to be a part.
Pulling it up, give us a second.
Maybe go to Austin this year. Show one person. Or show hands, Austin. Awesome. So then you guys definitely go to LA. What's that? I know, right? Well,
It's exotic.
you get better swag at the cons, so that's probably the reason.
Besides, it's exotic.
Well, yeah, this is hot.
Oh, no.
It wasn't too hot, but he told me he decided to start walking from the hotel the first day. how many miles was it?
2.
He said when he got there, someone asked him if they wanted to come in, if they wanted him then to call an ambulance for
Oh,
him.
really? It was not okay. All right, so here's the skinny on Drupal LA. Dates are May 11th through 15th, so you got that.
First day is usually paid training, and then the conference starts from there.
Right, correct. Yes, exactly. So you get paid training, and then you get the conference days, which are also, you have to pay for registration. So that's how that works. Going into the venue, could be the Expo Center downtown, so not too far from here, which is great. And then the official hotel is at Weston Bonaventure. Yeah, not completely close to the venue. All right, that's the feedback we gave to DA, but they got to do a deal, and that's what it's going to be. So
It's a mile walk uphill.
yeah, I mean, well, you know what?
Shuttles. The shuttle will take
Yeah,
us to the
okay.
conference center.
Talk about doing other things too, like kind of like double decker.
I don't know if it affects us that
stuff,
much,
I think for people. Another thing that they did, like at Bad Camp,
Yep.
that we're thinking about doing is at Bad Camp they have like free Lyft for people. So if anybody knows anybody at Lyft or Uber that wants to, that we can network with and
Right.
get something going for a group.
Transportation sponsor level.
Totally. Yes. Yes. Yeah. We ever wanted. So yeah, I mean, if anybody has any ideas in that regard, let us know. So here's what we want to tackle with the community. This is the stuff that we've been tasked for by the DA. Because, they have said, you know, we're based in Portland. We don't know too much about LA. They want to rely on us for a lot of this stuff. So first thing is logistics, transportation. Obviously, with the hotel being so far away, that's going to be a deal. Also, LAX to the venue, that's going to be a big deal. Just getting around downtown LA without running into any troubles of any kind. So yeah, you know, let people know how things work in this city.
Something else I was thinking is they want to arrange for people who live close enough to there that we're not going to stay at a hotel that's as far from the venue as our house is in terms of drive time. So they want to also do transportation networking for the
Yeah, that's a ride share. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, we're going to definitely.
Usually on the forums on the website, there is like a ride share kind of a little quadrant. People do kind of pop that up. I know there's some community people that always will bring up some ride share, at least just even the kind of spark the conversation about it.
I'm also thinking about the transit lines. See if there can be deals work with transit lines.
Yeah.
The transit lines won't give us a deal, but the conference sites, we, you know, each year they do try to make sure that, you know, from where you're at or neighboring areas, there's some metro information, which is like the nearest stops, drops, stuff like that. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that depend on that. Yeah. So helping fill out the et cetera, definitely right there on transportation is going to be key.
And that's, I think that's something I would be interested in helping.
Wonderful, thank you.
Transportation for me is a future, period. We need it.
Okay.
And like even at the conference, the next person, it's such a piece. It's going to take up one of the halls, so
Right.
the wrong halls, and if it's LA Live, not knowing where they are.
Transportation definitely even affects the social events, you know, wherever those are going to end up being.
More so because they're after hours.
Of course, of course.
So,
Hopefully not.
Is there gonna be an official prom party or something like that?
yes, so going back to that, that's why we say social event planning, because basically the way it works is all of the events that happen within the Expo Center are being done by the DA, and then everything that happens outside of it, we're going to work on together. So there is going to be a mega party that's going to be going on.
The official DrupalCon.
Perfect. Yes, so that's one of the venues, and then Chris has venues on venues.
Okay, yeah. Jeremy's got one.
Yeah. Give it to you.
No, we can work it out. And then I've been lining up a couple things to just get ready as well. So I want to keep it, you know, nearby.
What are you anticipating for attendance?
Well, I think they had over 4,000.
Yeah, it's plus 5,000 plus or minus a few hundred.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get a lot more. Just because I think we're gonna get international players this year because I think the
Right.
West Coast. I think
Right.
it's easier.
Imagine how many more people from the Bay, you know, literally all the counties around us, you know, It makes no sense, yeah.
All the slackers from LA.
It's like- Yeah. Okay, but social event planning, so we need to find out what those dates make sense to do, yeah.
So there's like 9 or 10 events that go on, just like trivia night, stuff like that you can find venues for, all different sizes, all different purposes. So we'll come out with a list and people kind of plug their thoughts and then we can
I know.
push those up for us and actually organize.
I agree. I agree.
Tourist needs, recreation, since you get a lot of people. So if they're out-of-towners, especially in LA, you know, you're gonna have people bring families and do the Disneyland thing, that kind of stuff. We just wanna make sure that there's a good itinerary for those people, especially like if you are leaving your family behind, if you're on a Drupal and they're not really Drupalists, that they have stuff to do, things like that, points of interest, all that good stuff. Also, you know, before con, after con, those types of things. Not everything's drinking, and there is like other things going on. So like I did a run over at gas camp where we ran across the Golden Gate Bridge. Like that kind of extra like flavor of, you know, LA would be kind of cool to do. Not yet, but I did pick up Griffin Park using, yeah.
I was gonna say, because they actually made this kind of thing happen on pre-done stuff.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right, like a group discount code. But honestly, the California Science Center, I think some people are definitely gonna come check out the Endeavor. Open? Still, it's open right now still? Okay, just make sure. But like, those are the things that, yeah, we wanna, just filling up a big fat node of a bunch of cool things for them to go see around, you know, and then letting them scatter out however they want, pre, during, and after. I mean, you know, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I had a blast in
There's so much
Chicago.
stuff, too, but, you know, we don't want them to do the
Yeah.
same thing that everyone does.
So maybe we start a wiki to kind of call like the attractions and then transportation, and we could just start kind of editing the wiki of just even ideas. Even if you're not a representative from there and it's just an idea, you know it's a good place, put it on the list because it doesn't really hurt us to add it as a line item of things to do in LA. I know we got a lot. I think one of the big ones will be I want to see the Hollywood sign even though they can't. It's a misconception. That's, yeah, TMZ tour bus, yeah, fun stuff. Okay.
So, and then showcasing other Drupal, so whether that means, you know, as developers, as a community, as people who like to go out and have a good time, you know, anything that showcases what we're about in our own distinct culture here in LA.
Sorry. There we go.
Okay, so ways to increase this program team. So there's I think 9 spots. So there's different like tracks, like DevOps and things like that. That if you guys are on there's going to be a lead for each one of those. Volunteering. So just general day of stuff that needs to happen. You're going to need like an army of people to take care of things. So if you have a free day or two that you want to be a part of that and you're willing to help out, so you really need.
No programming experience required.
Yeah, no.
This is like badge check-in. This is just the bodies. Correct.
Yes.
There you go.
Spread the word. So everybody here has their own internal networks, social networks, everything. So just making sure that you're out there telling people what's happening. Anybody who's on like the periphery of Drupal who may not be here in this room may have a reason to go. So let's expand our tent a little bit and make sure that there's more people coming to it right now. PR and marketing. If you have expertise in there, and if you have a contact that will help us expand our reach in some way, or if you have a new novel idea, some viral thing that you think would help, let's talk about it and see if we can get the word out that way. And all this stuff, by the way, is spearheaded by Stephanie over at DA. So for these types of things, you can reach out directly to her if you want. Like we said, we'll build wikis, we'll build lists, and we'll have that available to her. It would be just more like bounce off ideas, obviously. It's all open to everybody, so go for it. So immediate next steps, we're going to post this deck online for you guys. Click the whatever links are in here that you can go to. Also, we'll start some areas where we collaborate. And then the big thing that's coming up is there's going to be, we're constantly logos right now. So they're not going to be super cheesy, predictable, I can say that.
Explain the logo for the people who are not used to the reveal of the logo for the DrupalCon.
How about you do that? No, I've never been present for an unveiling of a
All right.
logo. For
So, you know, the conference does change its logo. It uses the Drupal logo as a base, but it always themes the logo to be something around that conference, that city, that area, something that, you know, really characterizes. There you go, Austin. So yeah, they have the bat, right? That was one, yeah. You know, I mean, a lot of them are very, very cute, nice. You know, they try to represent, like I said, the city in some way. So unveiling the logo starts to kick off that whole presence of what the LA, you know, the conference logo in theme, like, you know, in style design and, you know, the style, the pamphlets and all that. Plus, after the logo, we get
a website, we'll eventually get a website. But going back to the logo, one of the things that they're not going to be doing these, I think they have these phobias of this is super cheesy LA type stuff. We're not going to see like the Hollywood sign with Drupal or like a beach with Drupal on it. And we're not going to go like that. It's going to be something a little bit more nuanced than that.
so the 405 freeway with Drupal.
Oh yeah.
Just piled, but one for every module out there.
Tail lights logo.
There you go. Oh, great.
No, but, I mean, the direction they're going is pretty cool. I haven't seen anything yet, but it's
But once the logo comes out, that you know, that's the first of, you know, 2 or 3 more steps because you know, once we get the website, we can start doing the promotions. Again, they ask for us to do PR and marketing. It's really tough when there isn't a website to push people to pre-register. You know, not necessarily buy tickets, but you know, start drumming up our marketing machine. I mean, we are Los Angeles, right? You know, we have entertainment and media here for sure. So, kind of getting excited about this. Once that material is in, the collateral, then we can start making drum.
That's when everything start rolling. We'll get the logo, and then immediately from there, we start making like stickers and small swag, things that we can proliferate LA with. But also, after that, we'll get some brand standards, so then we'll be able to know how to treat that. But that's specifically for the website. There's a direction that goes logo, standards, and then we get a website.
Yeah.
So, not really firm on a date for the website yet, but I can tell you the logo. They're in concepts right now. I wouldn't be surprised to have that by Thanksgiving, and then we could start in earnest marketing in November, which would be good. She can market media. She can handle. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if we want to do a guerrilla campaign, anybody know Shepherd Ferry? No? All right.
Yeah.
We can carve a little budget out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I don't know that we want to get back.
Right.
Okay, so that's everything. So that's everything I know, and that's everything y'all know now.
Look to the LA Drupal group page on groups.drupal.org, and we will obviously have stuff posted there as soon as we get more.
Yeah.
But just based on the information that Matt has provided for this month, this meetup, quick show of hands. How many are definitely going to go, bro? You know, it's in your backyard. Okay. How many feel that they actually would consider volunteering? Matt looks pretty strong.
All right.
All right, cool.
Everybody knows.
Cool. Cool. Thank you, Matt. Yeah. So again, one more time.
No, I gotta take
Wanna
off,
make sure I had
but,
it
and
we'll put it online.
Grab a card.
Cool. Question?
Since you spoke to me.
I think it would be fun to bombard her.
And then she's gonna
I don't know if it would be fair or nice, but I don't see a problem with it because there's so little, you know, out there. I doubt we're gonna overwhelm her. So, you know, you hit them up. I'm passing my stuff through to Stephanie and him anyway right now. So, any other questions? Yes. Which one?
If it's Stefan or Stephanie.
Good call.
It's pronounced Stephanie.
Oh,
Is
and
that the correct spelling?
that is the correct spelling?
I'll
We don't
verify
know.
that in a second, but she gave me that.
Okay.
So I hope she knows her name.
All right. Good question. All right. Any other questions about DrupalCon right now? Again, every meetup will have more information. So December and January will definitely be much more fulfilling. Okay, moving on. Thank you, Matt.
anybody has any questions, look my card right there. So you can use questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Justin, you still need more time, right?
If you need more time, yes.
You need time, yes. You ready? Okay, sorry, Johnny. Audible. Audible.
No, you can go ahead while
No, you're plugging in. You're plugging in. All right, cool. This is Jack, go for it. All right, so jumping into, yeah. All right, let's see. Okay, cool. Yes, question?
Just an announcement that we have our Drupal study group on Monday, and that's where we, as a group, a few people come in for the kind of questions they have or something we're working on in Drupal, and we as a group try and answer some of that stuff. And then the second half of the meetup we spend on Drupal 8, either exploring certain things about it or from the UI, or in fact next week we're actually going to be starting to look at theming in Drupal 8. So we're going to try. So we're working on a site, and we're going to try and start building up to that. So that should be fun.
Cool. So for those, again, the study group, and then they do general, and then a portion of it is
Yeah, half Q&A,
half Q&A and like perfect timing, right? Because Drupal 8 Beta 2 just was released some time ago. I think around that time or
just right around the time of the security event.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So actually, you know what? While Justin's getting set up, let's talk about that for a quick Drupal beta, right? So the Drupal 8 Beta 2. So we can start thinking that Beta 2 is something that we can install for ourselves. They want us to start getting familiar with it. There was actually a call by Andy Byron that, or no, sorry. There was a request that Drupal Beta 2 be checked on my share hosts and a couple things. Not build the website, but just they wanted to start getting random info like, hey, this doesn't work here, doesn't work here. Obviously, they're asking for the common ones. So if you at all have, say, 15 minutes that you can spare at work real quick and say, hey, this is for the good of the company, it's the good of Drupal, I'm going to install it on X environment because I don't see that listed yet on the callback, so it works okay over here. So real quick, so Drupal 8 Beta 2, this is not something you want to put into production. We'll probably get maybe even a good 4 more betas. So at a conference, Drupal 8 will have either an exact release date or might even be on at that point if things go very, very well. Obviously, miles may vary based on people's time. But Drupal 8 is coming, so you'll see us actually push that a lot within our new sessions. You'll see that, of course, at the conference. It's going to be a Drupal 8 conference, okay? So how many here are still on Drupal 5? Beyond? Okay, we got yeah, no, I expect that percentage. I know you're there. Really, that low? Okay, this is good. So Drupal 8, one of the first things that we worked on were migration routines for bringing 6 to 8. All right, how many have already tinkered with 8? Hey, all right, cool, good. So this is gonna be exciting, and I think we're all gonna have a lot of fun with that. The second last thing, very, very short. How many here heard and dealt with Drupal Armageddon, which is the new security patch? Okay, for those that didn't raise your hand, you actually probably need to go check something. Basically, no, really. My current projects that I maintain are on Opria. So what I gotta say is, Opria had a great series of articles around how they actually overrode the MySQL driver using standard Drupal practices. Because when you host on Opria, you don't do the full settings.php. You don't put the database, connection string, all that in your settings.php. It's actually done, and they do that for you on the server. They generate that include. And your settings.php just references their include. And Opria sites were saved, and I think a couple other folks did the same right after that. Really, you need to go back. There's actually good articles by Opria that I tweeted about, and we retweeted on the official channel. But what I'll do is I'll try to actually combine those into one new post, which actually gives you guys tips on how to check if your server got hacked, if your website got compromised, how to clean it out, And basically, once you're just kind of up to date on Drupal 7, you should be good because it was just like little small changes. So I'll collect those with a couple other guys, and we'll just post something up there for the people that didn't raise their hands tonight. But definitely, this is something that did hit Drupal community hard. A lot of sites did get compromised, but there were a lot of sites that did not get compromised. Overall, what I did see was pretty cool. I think there were a lot of people that recognized how the community really jumped on it and getting the word out, but really also the formalities around security releases and security practices and information. Okay, this was really, really great. This brought a lot of attention to Drupal, but real quickly, I think there was a lot in there that showed that the Drupal community is ready for shakeups like this or big releases. And what I saw was really cool. There was literally some buzz around the WordPress community asking, hey, can we start to get this kind of security engagement, this kind of level of support within the WordPress community? So right there was already a big validation for the security team, Drupal as a whole. I mean, just from the front end developers all the way up to core maintainers. So very good job to everybody who knocked that out. And I have a couple websites. Definitely do that when you get a chance. Okay, so we're done with that stuff. Justin, give yourself a little bit of an intro. I gotta take this, but Justin's going to be talking about teaming with Omega 4 and Drupal 7. So let's give a very warm welcome to Justin.
All right, everybody. My name is Justin Gossett. I'm a front-end themer and Drupal developer. I've been with the Drupal community since maybe roughly 2009, since DrupalCon was in San Francisco. I wanted to do a talk on Omega 4. I'm a big fan of Omega 4. I use Omega 3 quite often, and it seemed seems like it'll be a very good topic to bring to the community. So this is just an intro course on Omega 4, what it does, some of the things that it adopts, how it is different from Omega 3. By no means am I an expert on Omega 4. I built one site that went live recently with it. Actually, two sites. One was a much smaller, less interactive site. The second one was a more larger scale site compared to the first one. So this is just some of the things that I've learned so far using Omega 4. I'll reference it at the end, but Scott Talinsky, I believe is how you pronounce his name. If you go to Omega 4 page on Drupal.org, you will see that one of the best videos that you can find is by Scott Talinsky on YouTube. He did a whole series, step-by-step, on Omega 4, how to install it, what it does. He even goes by file, explaining what each individual file does and all the things that are inside of it. So that's one thing I would recommend if you are definitely interested in Omega 4. So to get started, let me just, let's see here. This is fine. So the difference between Omega 3 and Omega 4 right off the bat is in Omega 3, you can make a lot of the changes to your layouts, your grid, all those different things through a GUI interface. As well as, yeah, and then currently right now there is no new development in Omega 3 as well. So to give you an example of what Omega 3 used to look like, or what Omega 3 still is. Actually, no, it's here. This is a site that I know where I actually did a topic on it here, a discussion on it here as well. But before in Omega 3, if you wanted to change any of the settings within the module, you may be familiar with it. You had all these different, it's a very large GUI interface where you could create new regions, move regions inside of different zones, inside of different sections, so on and so forth. The way that that's different from Omega 4 is there is no longer any GUI interface. So they take that and they strip that away. You get full control through code. How is that? Pretty much your CSS, in this case, your SAS, and through Compass plugins. You get to choose what grid framework you want right off the back. It comes with SUSE and Singularity downloaded and installed, but you could add to it at any time. You get development tools that are built and baked right in, such as Drush, Live Reload, which is one of my favorite features. I thought that was like the coolest thing since Shoestring, so to speak. And then also the browser with indicators as well. And then it has a bunch of Ruby gems that is baked right into the different configuration files as well. And so we're actually going to go and view some of that. Get this out of the way there. All right. So I thought we could get started right away with just showing how you would actually install an Omega-based theme and what it looks like straight from scratch. This is assuming that you are familiar with Drush command right off the bat, because that's what it uses to install a lot of the install the theme. You can use straight CSS or install it the regular way, but because it's built around command line tools, it's very recommended that you use such things as Compass and SAS and Drush to install your theme and to configure it. So we'll go right into that here. All right. Gotta find my mouse here. Okay. So what I did, I do already have one Omega theme already set here in place. So what I'll do is, this is after you've already installed Omega using Drush, DL, download Omega. You can then do just to show you the list of commands, if you do Drush, help, what is it, -- filter equals Omega. You can see the list of Drush commands that comes right out of the box. The one we will particularly be paying to first is this one, Drush Omega Wizard, where it just literally walks you through step by step through the command line of creating an Omega 4 subtheme. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll do Drush OWiz for short. And it says please enter a new subtheme. We'll just do a Drupal LA group. And then a machine readable name. You could change it if you want, but by default, it already gives you that one. And then it gives you the choice of choosing a base theme to create your sub theme based on right up front. And so in this case, you see my already created sub theme Drupal test. Normally you would not see that, but because I already had a sub theme there for testing purposes, we'll just omit that. The Ohm sub theme is something that you can reference and go back to understand how Omega 4 works. What we want to do is just create a sub theme based from Omega itself, which will be option 3. Do we want to choose a starter kit for a theme? We want to choose the default starter kit. This is something else that's different from Omega 3, where it came with several different starter kits that you can automatically choose from. Choose a destination for your theme. By default, it goes to sites all themes, so we'll just press enter. Do you want to keep the starter kits README files? No, we don't like README files. And do you want to enable your new theme? Of course, so we'll go ahead and click yes. And do you want to make your new theme default? Sure, why not? We'll go ahead and do that. And do you want to download the libraries defined in the make now? Yes. And so this is some of the requirements that you need for Omega 4 to work right off the bat. And then it begins, it does its thing. And presto, you have your new Drupal, your new Omega 4 subtheme. Now here is something that let's see here, just load it up here. So here's the secret ingredients, and we'll go over this in the files. These are some of the Ruby gems that are baked in. It has a long list of different requirements that you would need. But these are some of the things that is baked right into Omega 4. It uses Sass right off the bat, which is a preprocessor for CSS. You can use variables with Sass, mix-ins with Sass. It just makes your life a whole lot easier. For the sake of time, we won't go too much into Sass. Sass gobbling, which is very cool. What it does is, so if you have different import files that you need to put in your Sass file, what it does is you can throw them all in one folder instead of listing them all in that same file, and then Omega 4, which is Sass gobbling, will automatically just read that whole folder and all the Sass files in that folder and import them directly into your Sass file. And I'll give you a demonstration of that as well. It requires Compass, which is a framework for Sass. Then you can use your grids that you want. You can use Suzy, you can use Singularity GS. Then you have Guard Compass, which is like Compass Watch. It constantly watches the files as files update in real time. And then Guard Live Reload, which automatically reloads the web page as you make those changes. So hypothetically, if you wanted to change our background from white to blue, and instead of having to go to the web browser and clicking refresh, it'll automatically refresh as you make that change, which is pretty cool. And so right off the bat, there's pretty much no, how can I say, Omega 4 is great, but there were some headaches in the initial start process. And that is downloading and using all these specific requirements that you need. For instance, you need a specific Ruby version manager in order to use all these Ruby gems. You can download RVM, and it gives you a specific, it gives you Ruby manager, but you have to use a specific version. When Scott Talinsky did the tutorial, he had some errors, and I did as well. I assume that that's something that's going to be, most people are going to have, and based off the configurations you have with your computer. So that was one of the headaches, getting that to work properly. And then on top of that, you have to make sure that after you create your theme, which we will do, you have to actually do a bundle install as well to actually download all the correct gem files. So in short, that was the only headache that I really had, but it was a large enough headache in itself. Once you get past that hurdle of getting the correct Ruby version and all those different things on your computer for that initial time, then you really won't have any more headaches. Question?
I had trouble with specific versions of the terms as well.
Yes.
Like great place and another one that said it was that way the version of that.
Right, and I ran into that earlier today. That's why I was doing some tinkering over there. So what it was is when I initially used Omega 4, I download the version that was maybe back, we'll say in May. And since then, newer versions of gems and stuff like that were released. And we'll see when we go into the gem file, they lock in certain versions of gem files based off that version of Omega 4. And so when I downloaded the newer version of Omega 4, then it required newer versions of those gems. And then it worked fine after I did the bundle install, because then it corrected itself and updated those correct versions of those gems. So that was the fix that worked for me at that time. And so to see what that looks like, here. Okay, so, and actually, let's see. Let's bring up our actual site. We'll go Drupal test. There it is. And so that's what Omega 4 looks like right out of the box. A full width theme with all your different regions right there. If we go back to our Drupal LA group theme, and we'll see automatically picks up that it needs that specific Ruby version. It automatically sees that I have that version. Good to store. Oh, excuse me. There we go, and it's fetching them, and we'll show you the file that it's actually looking for as well. And so I believe it's installing all these different gems, and this is something you would have to do for each individual site for each time you want to use a new version of, create a new sub thing.
If this kind of workflow is a bit new to you and you've been doing static CSS, regular CSS, this is the new norm. You know, a lot of this stuff is very common, you know, outside of Drupal even, you know, getting used to just using Ruby gems just to compile, you know, to do something, to, you know, inject code, you know, while you're developing. Again, this is the new norm. So whether you're doing Drupal work or you're going somewhere else to another technology, this is what is expected nowadays. So now even your code, and there's debates between, you know, checking in, you know, like Bower components and node modules and stuff like that into your repo with your code, or just having it build up each time. Really, that's a religion that you get to decide yourselves internally. As long as you have standards, then you can commit with or, you know, commit without. But get used to this. If the command line scares you, there are actually a lot of desktop options, you know, around, I would say, the $15 to $35 range. There's a couple free ones. People are always, you know, recommending them, but there are some, especially for Mac, more than I think for Windows, easy GUIs that will do the Ruby gem, the Ruby version manager installation for you, both with a Mac GUI, and it'll compile your CSS from SAS, you know, less, whatever it is. So if you just ask, you know, during the Q&A what software can I use instead of the command line to, you know, get these components going. We'll help compile all this, because this is.
Oh, it's no problem. So this is the info file right here. Right off the back, you can see it weighs a lot less, or it has a lot less lines than the old Omega 3 info file right off the back. It just creates, based off our command Drupal, Omega OS, it created our style sheets, our regions, our scripts for JavaScript, and so forth. As Chris was saying, this is what all those gem files that are required installs. You have SAS, Compass, Suzy, Singularity, Toolkit, Breakpoint, Guard Compass, Guard. Lots of different things are right off the back. So those are the requirements that Omega 4 needs. As like Charles said, this is what the new norm is. And so that's in essence, don't be too afraid of it. You have to touch it somehow. I did it because it taught me a lot of what was going on in here. Like I mentioned, by no means am I a professional, but I learned a specifically when we and then bio in here, all those different things which are required. And so if we go back, and so the next part would be actually layouts. And so the way Omega 4 works is, what I did initially is create a file So you can right off the bat create your own grids within within Omega 4, and it's using the grid, whatever grid layout you choose. But what I like about this is you can create any number of grids you want and give it the size of the gutters, and it takes care of everything else, all the math that you need right off the bat. And so, let's see.
Quick show of hands, how many here are actually have adopted or are trying out SAS with less? Okay, good number, cool, good.
Yeah. In this case, we're saying, hey, we want 12 columns, and then you can choose the size of your gutters. If you see my gutters, I say 1/4, where in essence, I'm saying whatever the width of that grid is that you do your math for, make my gutter 1/4 of that grid. And so what I mean by gutter is you have your grid, which is the spacing of your web page, but then in between that does right off the mat. I'll actually just uncomment that out. And so what I'm gonna do right now at this point is just switch back to my original file, since I had that already set up. All right, and then I'll go there. And then if I brush over here, do a live reload of that file. And so it asked me, well, which I want to do a drush guard. I said, okay, I want to do it. I'm gonna do it on the Drupal test theme, since that's just the one I'm right now. No, I'm switching back. Yeah. And so if I go back to here, and I'm going to just go ahead and switch the theme. And I'm only doing this because I have some code already in place to see the changes. Actually, I'll just go to appearance. And then I'm gonna say, hey, I want my Drupal test to be set as default. All right, it's done. So I can go back home now. Okay. I did. Okay, so then, yeah. So if you want to get out of Drupal guard, you can, and then I could just, and then, okay, so 2 is the one we want.
Does anybody turn on the timer to see how much of their life they've recovered? No? Okay.
And so it's throwing an error right now only because let's see here. Actually, no, this might be easier. Okay. Let's see. So it's saying we got an undefined variable in layout.scss. So we'll take a look at that. Line 39 of layout variable. So we'll just comment these out real quick. And that's specifically what is
breakpoint. And that's something we're going to get into in a quick second. Twelve grids, as you can see right here, which would ideally better of when it hits save, and you can see it happening right here in real time. Another region for you, so you would do the as well as and so we say, hey, I want to start at the first grid, but I want it to go 7, and then I want my sidebar 9. So you can see that there's going to be gap of extra spacing there, but it's going to still give me 12 grids. So if I hit save, I still have my my grids there. Let me see if I can shrink this in size. There you go. That's better. So I have my first sidebar, and then we'll go ahead and actually let's do this one. Let's go down.
So I understand it correctly.
Mhm.
When you have grid span, the first argument is basically the length of the grid.
Right.
And then the second one is the position. Like if you have like 12 slots
Right.
that make up.
It's going to start at the first one, as we see right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so this one, so if I have my branding and I wanted to start at grid 4, but I wanted to be 4 grids, but I wanted to start at the first grid. Then I have my header where I say I want it to be 8 grids because 8 plus 4 is 12, but I wanted to start at the 5th grid where I left off in my my branding. So it'll line up side by side next to each other. And then
We also need to, here it is. We also want to go ahead and throw as well, navigation. And there we go. I got my branding that CS that I created through SAS, where my branding grid was it. There you go. Okay, there it is. So now you can see in Omega 3, you have to do this through the GUI interface right here, where you get on in the regions and all those different things. You can do everything and have based on code or your SAS, with your header region you wanted to add. You can do that and define the grid layout inside of there. So technically, in the grid system inside of the header, I could define another region, give it a whole another 12 columns within that header region. And then just so that can kind of take the place, in my mind, of stuff like Display Suite or even other, but you still can use Display Suite and other things with Omega 4, but it just puts everything, you pretty much have all the control and all the power that you need right off the bat. And you can do that with get any type of layout that you really want. Now, the thing is we will do now. Let's just and so we do those two. And so yeah, very good website on basically showing how you breakpoints. A funny website they got, how you can use breakpoints, the framework within your CSS. So this is something I will post up as well. Understand how to use breakpoints. We have a mobile breakpoint with a max width of 479 pixels, and then we have a desktop at 1025 pixels. So if we go here to our layout, and so we'll say we want the desktop to be, and we call it, and see, this is still a file that I have called. So then I'll say I want my background to be green for my, and you should see that in real time on this green, and it changes layout. Whereas if I go, it changes back to what it originally was with the white background. Up at 225 pixels or greater, then it goes to green. Now, my mobile layout, hey, I want my size to be blue. And so we're at tablet, that gap, blue. And so that's how you can use Omega Modern, your front-end web development specifically. I like this because, again, it took a space that, in essence, I was so accustomed to in Omega 3. And it put a whole lot more control in my hands of what exactly I really wanted. And so to give you a more modern or complete SAS I had in the very end, this is what my layouts file looked like, where I had all my different break one what each individual this word for each individual. One thing that I really liked about breakpoints that on my tablet and mobile in a whole separate style sheet. Something like looked very ugly. I didn't like it myself that I did. In line with my regular CSS. So instead of having a whole separate of references of tablet, for instance, in this case, tablet, what's going on if I need to change something, I have to kind of look and it's playing hide and here. Okay, this is my front style sheet. I'm in my hero region. I need to change the for my front slider. I just needed a zero, and then that's how I do it. Just add include breakpoint mobile, which is right there based off my settings with a max width of 479 pixels, bottom position of 0, and there it is. So that's one of the things that I learned and I really like the most in using this particular framework. That Zen, you thing with the Zen theme and this other, even like live reload, you can tap. But this comes with a lot of things with no problem. And I was just a fan of Omega, and it works really good. We're working on Omega 5, Drupal 8, 4 already takes on a lot of the coding standard. Everything is here. So to see that finish was this particular layout. This particular site right here. Another quick thing, speaking off the cuff here, is you have layouts. So hypothetically, if you look here, this is my front page layout, which is completely different from my insider page layout, or my internal pages, and a main content region and all the stuff. Before in Drupal 3, in Omega 3, you had to use Delta module and download that module and use different layouts for using the Delta module. And now the Delta module was specifically for Omega. Now they have Context Omega, so you don't, and they take away, the Delta module still gave you that GUI interface. Now they take that out and you use Context module. So what that does is you can create layouts based off pretty much what you want. So if you look here, we'll just scroll that out of there. We go to sites, all themes, and then I have my layouts right here. And see, if you notice, I have two layouts, one for front and one for sidebar right. And so if you look here, I have a whole separate, right there, I have an include file that looks similar to an info file for this particular layout. And then I have a TPL file, which is just an exact copy of the original TPL file for this layout, but now it includes my right sidebar region, which you see right here, versus the front layout, which does not have that right sidebar region. The reason that Omega 4 did this, based off of what I've learned, is this is exportable. So if you have a particular layout that you use constantly over and over, and you have styles for that particular layout, then you can just export the CSS, that whole folder for that layout with those styles, and you can use them in whatever other Omega 4 theme that you would like. So to tell Drupal to use this specific layout on these pages is all through the context module. So if I go to structure, context, And then if I go to, let's say, front layout, global layout. So I have a layout specifically for my front, and let's see if it's in here. It should be. For a layout front. And so you define which layout you want to use for which specific pages and on specific, whatever your use case scenario is. By default, you can also set the default. So the default layout would be in here. And so choose a default layout. There it is. My single right sidebar will be my default layout, which I so you can layouts basically doing whatever you want, and you context of the if there's any questions, feel free to ask me.
I was gonna go back to the gems actually.
Okay.
And when you're talking about like compiling, like, is that something, that's like a global server level thing, right? Like if I install that and then I have a, I'm trying to build one site and then I go work on another site on the same server, it's gonna be using the same files, right? So if there's a version in there, that's a headache.
Well, so this is just my local machine, and that's just, from what I understand, like this is just to compile those files on a development level on a local machine. So when I push those files up, all the files have been compiled, the CSS is already there. I just push those files up, and I no longer need those Ruby gems on my live server, so to speak.
Yeah, but if you want, I had a problem where I had a host that didn't have Ruby installed.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're talking about is uploading compiled CSS files to the host. That was if you want to make a change, you can't edit it on the host. That's what it needs to be a compiled CSS file.
Yes, and so that's just part of my workflow. Normally, I don't make changes on either my staging server or my live server. I make changes on my local machine and just push those changes up. And so therefore, I'm not hogging down my servers with unnecessary stuff, unnecessary installs or anything like that. It's clean, pristine, just for me.
But that workflow is used to replace the type CSS files.
Yes, but that's on purpose. This workflow, so gems are installed on the workstation. Maybe gems installed on the development server if it's shared for some reason, maybe. But really every workstation would have this because what's in your Git repository, what's in your code repo is the make files, right? All the components that list with gems. So when you go to a new machine, when you bring this theme file down or the files down from your Git repo, and say a new developer starts on it, they would run bundle install, a couple little commands, and that would actually start to put all the pieces together for them to start compiling. You don't want, for performance reasons, you don't want to have these, these extra binaries up on your production server. If you are working on simple websites, if it's going to be, somebody maybe like your client's going to edit the CSS later, this may or may not work out for you. It might work for you, but they might make changes that you have to kind of bring back. So this is something that you really have to think about. If you are in a group environment, though, if you're working with other people on projects, then this is the modern workflow. This is how it is. So I've run into a couple instances where people call and they're like, I don't have Ruby on my server. I'm like, no, you're overthinking it. It's the developer. Well, I can't find the developer. You're not calling me back. Well, that's a different problem. Right? Right. But if somebody was internal and they were, used to the workflow, to the tool set, this is just the standard that it is. If you have simple clients, maybe just staying with simple CSS, not using all the bells and whistles about it. But you can use Sass, and there are tools, there are commands that say, go check what the difference is in that CSS and Sassify it and bring that back in. So there are some extra steps that you can do to manage it. They're not clean, they're good, but they're now. So again, we are getting more complex instruction sets for a simple CSS file. But now that it lets us really break up the files, we can do a lot more. We have standards. I mean, there's layouts. There's things we can share now. It's really not so I guess kind of antiquated with static. Better tools now. So yeah, it is complex. It is extra work initially, but really the benefit, the time. I mean, even the live reload to click your browser, to press refresh. I mean, it's already flipped over there. There is a how much of your life is actually recovered back. So I was curious to ask, like how many people. It's real. It's like a popular thing. Like crazy people like to show off how much gas equation for modern life. Let's get a couple more things. Did that help us? Yeah. Right. Okay, good. Sure.
Just to answer a bit more on that question, like if you're starting to run into issues with your gem file and things like that in some projects, you might even consider switching up your workload and maybe do stuff with like Bakers and VirtualBox. Mm-hmm. So in each of your sites are sandbox and you can gem versions can down for the specific.
And these are things where if you went down, these couple of steps, on the pavement, you don't want to go back. You really don't. I mean, how many are into Yelman? Anybody a Yelman fan? All right, what's up? Yeah. So, a lot of people didn't raise their hand, but for me, I cannot go back for you my static pages. If I have a family, a member that comes up and like, I need one quick web page, I'm going to use the modern workflow because it's going to help me type this stuff out. But to them, they wouldn't really know the difference. I mean, it was one plain index file, plain CSS file. For them, they would nothing, be none the wiser. But this is, again, this is where we're going at. So isolating is a great idea, that helps, but it is one extra little thing. But the time you put into this to just get comfortable with these new components, these new workflows, this the new the new vocabulary, all this stuff. This is how it's going to be ongoing for sure, whether you're Drupal or not. And more questions right here. Yes.
Getting to the notion of new vocabulary, new ways of approaching the universe, etc. One of the things that we need is first steps. We need to know.
These are included with every theme. So.
Well, no, I'm saying we need to know what does it do, how do we learn the basics of that. A lot of that has to really out the part I really gave it a good solid part. But I was still working on getting a clean install on these. There was something wrong with this picture. Mm-hmm. But then it's a matter of what does this technology do? Where is it located? Where do you find it?
And maybe you have the black box more, so then it turns rabbit hole.
Yes.
And that's the 5 things.
It's because I was getting errors.
Okay, who here didn't get an error when they started the Ruby gems, right? I mean, start to get into it. This is just the nature of the because of the versions. The gem this, A versus B versus all that. All this is still getting sussed out. We are still doing. But things, you pointed in some videos. There's so much more today available to us. So a lot of projects aren't really just throwing it up and then kind of leaving it because nobody will adopt it if it's on YouTube or a couple starters. If there isn't something easy, digest, right? I think Zen was great, but you have to read source code to for it, and the help wasn't that great. Everybody's come along a little bit farther. What I think is a deeper problem is time. There's the pressure that we feel like we have to jump into these new things. There's the pressure of getting our work done, and then there's the desire for us to not, our knowledge set. Take these in stride. There's a lot of things out there. I'm surprised there really isn't a lot more conversation around front ends. Front end team design. But probably the hottest, most radioactive topic going back and forth. I think we need to do a better job in general about aggregating this information. So our YouTube channel for LA Drupal has been one of those. So we bring a lot of conference stuff. And for those that have been gone for a while, we brought in other playlists from other things, Drupal Association, Drupalize Me, Optia, Pantheon, bringing in all these videos. So when you go to theming Drupal, it's not just from only our meetups. It is 100 videos of all 4, 5, 3, Zen 5, going on. So we are trying to figure this out. Drupal.org and here in the meetings. But I think it actually makes sense that maybe one of our breakout groups is front end and theme modern, workflows. So what we'll do is for Vector, if you want to talk in a group about front end theme modern workflow, whether it's Omega or something else, but SaaS. I think SaaS and us are, this is where everything is really at, for modern CSS. Show them and we'll go back.
One was just a comment and the other was a question. For the comment, it was just that I know Omega 4 also integrates with panels. So yeah, all the stuff that you do with the layouts in Omega 4, it automatically comes over into panels as well, which is really awesome. But the other question that I had with this is, I know that Omega 4 was a very controversial release, mainly because they did get rid of the GUI. And that has affected things a little bit on that front.
Right, slowed adoption a little bit.
Yeah, it's slowed down adoption. I love the Drush
But the
integration.
focus is for somebody else, how you doing it.
Right. Like, I love the Drush integration, but I know that the exclusion of the GUI really impacted it. Do you know if the GUI is returning for Omega 5? Or,
I don't think so. Based off of what I've read, this is the direction they want to continue to head down. That's why they still have Omega 3 up. There's just not going to be any new major releases for it. It's pretty stable and for that particular place. Based off of what Chris Charlton said, if it wasn't for me trying to do Omega 4 and get into it, I would not have learned anything about breakpoints, Suzy Grid, Singularity, all those different things. And by no means do I fully comprehend a whole lot, but I do know now I got more than a foot in the door. I got like half a body in there now. And so that's what really helped me out. And to answer your question and to piggyback what I meant to show up is this video series. I mean, to be honest, I watched this video series, streamed it to my TV while I was just doing some stuff around the house, and just hearing it and just watching it and absorbing it, and then going back and just doing it, watching it and then doing it step by step, and then getting through those errors helped me out tremendously in understanding what in the world is going on. Because even when I just look at some of the job posts, they asked, okay, do you have any familiarity with some of these things that's taking place here? And so the GUI interface is great, but I do like diving deeper.
I do have a prediction on doing, we'll get right to you. Well, not a prediction. What's a good word where if something's going to happen anyway? Prediction? I think it is a more abstract GUI that works for Omega, or is it like basically anything that is going to be CSS oriented. It may not be a Drupal module. This stuff is shared across every. Again, anything that I'm not doing in Drupal, I'm using Yum as the exact same components. Structures, ability is going to be something that everybody will probably jump onto. It might start as a module, but maybe we end up using a tool or some new, to just kind of get a visual. But I think somebody's going to have to bring that back, and not necessarily the Zeit meeting as a whole. Yes.
two things, because like I said, Scott Zielinski, he ran into the problem right in the video himself. And so he found out where to go. I just Googled it. And I just Googled the exact problems
The
I was having.
exact error.
Yeah, the
On
exact
Google,
error.
Everybody's got a, it's right.
Yeah. And even I came, and that's why I had another error, and I just Googled that. It just helped me down. It still took a little bit of time, but it was still time. When you run into an error and you solve it, your knowledge base grows because you see what other people have had the problem with. You're not alone. What it is, what's really going on underneath the cover.
There's a big issue as well.
Yeah, right. But the Ruby stuff yourself, honestly, the answer is most likely going to be a blog post or Stack Exchange.
Yes.
Everything that I run version management and SaaS and an error. I woke up one morning, my Yahoo was working great. I woke up and I'm like, whoa, why did I get this error? Like, literally, I opened it. I don't know why. So, it's a little bit funky. One good tip is close out your terminal after you've done a bunch of you're changing your batch profile and batch RC and all that stuff. Closing your terminal session and starting again actually wakes that stuff up. This tweet, point, but it's so worth it again. Where all the things have gone is this, so if you're not doing the thing development yourself, somebody on your team should be getting comfortable with this. Because even just having one person that's dying, I'll call them the digital scars from, they're not visible, right? The digital scars of dealing with Ruby, that's a big one. Ruby version management, RVM, is supposed to help all that, where you install an RVM, a Ruby version manager, and it would install multiple versions of Ruby for you based on something that's asking for that version. So if you install something old, it'll go grab an old Ruby. Otherwise, it's always giving you a new one. So that's a tip that some people, I think, find out later because they install Ruby to get SaaS and Compass going. And then they're like, I didn't know about the Ruby version manager thing. And then if you're using Mac ports or Homebrew or one of the other, if you got a combination of those together, if you went to just Yosemite, ship broke also, so you got to install XO. Right. So how many went to Yosemite, right? Okay, 4 or 5 of us. The Wi-Fi problem was already a big one already, but it broke all my Rubies, it broke all my gems, it broke a bunch of stuff. But you kind of, I think every OS version you get up, you kind of go through that headache again. Shame on me for doing that in the middle of development, but everybody wanted it bad. My fault, but you go to bed at midnight and then you wake up and resume installing 15 gems. It's just the way it is right now. It will honestly, it's been better for me than it was, I would say, almost 2 full years ago. So I would imagine over the next year and a half, maybe 2 years, we're not going to have these same problems, and all those errors are going to be, usually manageable because the readings are getting better, and people are just getting this stuff's getting a lot easier. Any more questions around Ruby, Gem, SAS, Omega 4, responsive Drupal, responsive themes? Do you enjoy that?
I noticed you were loading JavaScript file.
I think that's just the default. Yeah, the default JavaScript file. Ooh, that makes sense.
Okay, awesome. Good stuff. Thank you. I'll work with Justin. That YouTube playlist that you guys saw, we'll make sure that that's actually up not only on our LA Drupal YouTube channel, but we'll also make sure it's right on the LA Drupal page. So make sure you guys know what I'm talking about here real quick.
And then we're going to get into our lightning talk, and then we break out for networking and breakout groups. Okay. So let me show you what I'm talking about here real quick. YouTube.com/. Sorry. So let me show you guys what we have going on here. So if you go to Los Angeles Drupal, they'll take you right to our channel. All the videos are free, of course. Galore. We got camp videos, including our keynote. Lambton. There's a good keynote. Here's the one that's live now. So here we go. But everything we put everything in order. Okay. Also meetups. Drupal 8, Drupal 7. We break down theming, PHP. So again, we're aggregating a lot of stuff, definitely to this channel. So we'll make sure those Omega videos are right up on that front page there. And we'll also, like I said, I'm going to show you our groups page. Of course, groups.drupal.org. Wonderful Wi-Fi. It's very easy. Big red button right there takes you to it, and we have some immediate playlists. This will get updated, I promise you. And then we'll also post in the notes for tonight's meetup. We'll post the links for the stuff that Justin referenced. Okay. Did you guys like that one? All right. Cool. All right. So, Jeremy, you ready? Would you like to do your lightning talk? Cool. Did anybody else want to offer a 5-minute tip for lightning talk?
Projector.
Yes, it's projected. So you're going to be right in. I'm going to flip it to it. Sorry.
Big puzzle.
It's the one back.
There you are. There we are.
I'll offer another tip real quick. It was, I think, this to me, this shows the importance of coming to the meetup. Actually, Jeremy was the one who did a quick lightning talk on paragraphs module, which I use today. And I only use it because it was missing at an LA People meetup, and it was great. Awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And there's a bunch of stuff I saw that they've been doing in the dev release of that module. I haven't tested it yet, but they've been going through a whole bunch of issues to do, which is really cool. All right, so this is CaliforniaScienceCenter.org. This just launched in the last couple weeks. Everybody who's known me for a few years knows what a big deal it is, but this finally launched. It's been rebooted many times. It was, against my better judgment, launched without any beta testing at all. So if you guys find any bugs, please let me know. There's still a lot more work to do on it, but it's out there now. How big was the team? Officially, there were 3 of us, 4 kind of at the end. Unofficially, mostly me. All right, but that's not what I was going to talk about. Right towards the end, we came across a very weird CSS bug on iPhones. So, which I thought I'd point out just in case anybody else runs across anything, and if anybody has a solution for it. So if you look at a page like this page has a sidebar on it. It is a responsive site, so if you shrink this way down, there's this little triangle off to the right here that'll show you the sidebar. Let you flip back and forth. So it stays. All right, so here's an iOS simulator. This is showing on an iPhone. This bug does happen on the simulator, and it doesn't happen on the older operating system. So it's only for people who have upgraded to the latest operating system.
On a 5.
On anything less than 6.
Anything less than 6.
Yeah,
Could it be the
I went
pixel width?
through all of
Could it be pixel width?
Can you open up the console and see if there's any JavaScript there?
No, it's not. None of this is JavaScript. It's all just straight CSS.
Even that click event for the little button?
All that does is change. It's very tough right now. All it does is change the class.
It sounds like it's a JavaScript, even if it's a little small, it could be. Like just so. Yeah,
Well, the JavaScript isn't at this point. No JavaScript is happening, so it's just going off of whatever class is there.
There's one more comment section right here.
I just want to show what the actual button is. So there's 2 parts to it. Not there, right? But if we drag the screen way over to the right, right? So it's to the right of the screen. It only happens when you're fixing. And I started coming up with a crazy workaround so I could have this actually positioned left instead of right, but still show up on the right side and all that, working that out. But then I noticed this other weird thing that happens. It's also supposed to be fixed at the top of the screen. As you start scrolling up, it slowly crawls up.
Yeah, that's
Right.
That's Mac, that's JavaScript.
Yeah. Not at the same rate as you're actually scrolling, but it just
Parallax
starts.
scrolling.
And yeah, it is, at this point, there's the
Issue, like the height of the page or something, where it's like wanting to do changes in that way.
really
That's awesome.
bizarre.
So like if you open up Safari, there's an inspector.
Yeah, I looked in there, and I have nothing like that.
Well, maybe not there, but like you can see the box model and see if it's like, it could be in a totally screwed up, like, position.
Yeah, nothing that for everything I've seen, because I did inspect it with that, and it looks like it's where it's supposed to be, and
Jeremy, you might have literally stumbled onto a whole new visual navigation paradigm. I mean,
I know, I'm kind of like it. Parallel, like, kind of feels.
And if you click on it, so now I clicked on it, so now it has actually like displayed at the sidebar, and this works fine. That's fixed. So when it's on the left,
I like the traffic advisory I got.
and it really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, top browser. Sorry, it was.
I want I can't wait to hear the tinfoil hat people say.
It's great on my phone. I'm not getting that little arrow.
The demo of this, it's simpler, it doesn't have the whole website, and see if I can narrow down what it actually is, and maybe report it to Apple.
Because that pop-up triangle, is that based off of modules, so you can kind of do another dummy site and get that pretty quick, or do you have to read that yourself?
No, this is my own thing. The right sidebar, is it like overflow? Like how wide is the actual top? Is it rendering where the width of the, even though device width is there, the side is up again. But a fixed element is supposed to be fixed relative to the window.
Operative words supposed to be.
Right. I know, but I've tried moving it around too. I tried taking it out of its current containing box and moving it higher up the food chain and all that didn't make any difference. When I had it fixed on the right side, it was still doing that weird creep and still jumping way off to the side. Experience really found or dealt with what I really thought was a CSS bug, except with position fix. Yeah, and I've had it with a couple other things, especially in Safari and Firefox.
Yeah.
I found lots of references to problems with fixed position stuff in Safari on iOS, but most of it had to do with layering issues. Things
Right,
like CSS,
right, yeah.
that work. Yeah, I haven't seen anything talking about this stuff. And the weirdest thing to me is that falling up off the screen, like it jumping all the way to the right. I could kind of work out maybe there's a reason for that. I cannot think of any reason why it would fall off the screen like that. That's just bizarre.
This might be one of those cases where, for a while, maybe, a concession where it's not exactly the same. And it's a temporary thing. Thank God it's not just like stone, right? We get to export a new CSS file and push it out. Get it out. Get out the whole JavaScript library. What else? You want to do the third one? What do you have next?
The publication update module, which I'm a maintainer on now, and I just pushed out. I thought it was a good time to remind everybody that you should use this. In Drupal, as you know, they have a created date to track for node. But there are many cases I've come across where that's not really adequate. And what I want is node, and it can sit around for before it actually is published. Creative use, they created date up at the bottom when it is public. And likewise, you could use the change date, but then if you go in and edit it, and then the whole node, it jumps. So this so you can it integrates with a bunch of other modules, it integrates with display suite, it's got a entity something wrapper so that it will work with anything that uses the XP API. So rules will work with dates, so it'll work with scheduler. So lots of stuff. So
This is one of those wider ones?
yeah. And I tried to get it late, maybe someday.
All nodes,
It applies to all provides instances or permissions. Should not show the field on the magnetic form. But if you have, so often I'll have like a news content type or something like that where it actually comes into play. You may want to publish a good story or something like that, or let people debate a little bit. And I'll just give some roles the permission to go in there. So, but it will track it on everything. Well, and I've done that before with a field. The field has a lot of overhead, and you can't have the field show up in the publishing options tab like this does. So from the UX perspective, from just overhead perspective, from performance perspective, so we're using these as a block there. Fields are tracked with revisions. Right? It doesn't make sense to track a node property right with revisions. Right? So,
Good model. Thanks for co-maintaining. That's a 1,600 we're up to. How many? Well, only 1,700 sites. Good job. That's great. I like that one. Yeah. So two things came to mind. The second one just now for me, indulge me for a quick second. There was the, Justin in his presentation, he was showing Breakpoint, the website, which used imagery and fun, cheeky stuff from the movie Point here. James Cameron's wife directed that. There you go. That was fun, and hey, wouldn't it be fun because we're going to come up with a list of. What if we also did a note about LA or shot in LA? About this fun stuff, right? Movies. But I'm really thinking, because Jeremy, there's a lot of us here that maintain modules that work. I think I would love it if you maintain the module or anything that's Drupal oriented. Make sure that there's a couple of you Drupal, what they're contributing want to be known for, or even is basically you to send me your user profile link because it shows all the modules that you use. And I think there'd be good that show off how big the LA Drupal community is in terms of actually committing to the using, but actually supporting the function. I know there's. I know it definitely has. You guys like that idea? I'll actually spearhead that wiki. They kind of point out, their little profiles. Again, the conference coming to LA is going to be a big deal for us. It really gives us a chance to not just welcome people to our city, but it really also shows how strong LA Drupal is. We have been a huge contributor in terms of content, video, and the conference is a big one for us every year. So I want to say thank you to everybody who's not only participating in Drupal, but participating in our Drupal. So that goes to our sponsors and all the sponsors, people hiring, the people inviting talks to the sessions. So I really want to thank you guys. So let's give the crowd a good round. So thanks for the tip and thanks for giving a good challenge. So how do we do this? We'll do 2 breakout groups. There might be a couple slices of pizza. I see a couple drinks, a couple bottles in there. Let's do around the table. This area right here will be front end theming and SaaS, right? So this will be the front part right here for the SaaS. And let's go ahead and have the back portion be Jeremy's problem with the JavaScript floating elements. Basically, advanced talks. We can kind of just mingle in the back, just be geeky back there. But if you want the front end people interested in talking about SaaS and all that stuff, Omega, definitely enjoy the conversation here at the time. Does that sound good to group picks? Front end theming, Omega, and then the back basically miscellaneous, probably Jeremy's thing. Okay, sound good? All right, cool. Business cards for anybody hiring? Anybody has a job offering? We want the business cards here on the table so people can grab them. Any final questions, comments, criticisms? Is anybody interested in beers after this? Show of hands. I got 1 or 2 hands. 2 hands. All right, if you're interested in beers, go to the back of the room and you can ask who's going to go. Figure that one out. Thank you.
I'm betting it might be freaking out late. Yeah, well, that's not one version of the iOS or even just because like it's all I'm trying to get the my here.
A few days ago, had a website that I need to deliver this week if possible.